Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. It is Friday on this program. You know what that means? Well, you don't know what that means, because Fridays, we're adding a new segment on Friday afternoon. We used to do this segment all the time, but all this news happened, and Dave got really busy. But now, starting today, Dave Meltzer returns Fridays. Second segment of the show, Dave's going to be on. We'll talk about the top stories in the newest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter and more. And then, yes, as promised a couple of days ago, Monteasy will join us for the final segment of the show. So, two big guests on the show today, and we might be having two big guests on the show going forward every Friday. So, that's going to be the plan from this point forward. In the meantime, we have a lot of news, including Dynamite ratings, Michael Elgin suing Impact, NXT Stand and Deliver, taking place on April 2nd, in case you want to watch a full NXT show and then a full first night of WrestleMania on the same day. I'll tell you about that. Keith Lee talks Bearcat. And yes, got some thoughts on the Vince McMahon interview on the Pat McAfee show. Did you guys see it? I think the number one thing I heard from people was how much better Vince looked here than he does on television, and how humanizing the interview was. I thought it was a very, very good interview. Of course, it's a Vince McMahon interview, so there's going to be some controversial things here and there, but I thought he was on top of his game in terms of being Vince McMahon on an interview. So there was a small angle. Basically, he challenged Pat McAfee to have a match at WrestleMania and said he would find a fitting opponent for him. The internal WWE lineups for WrestleMania had listed Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee, but I don't think we're going to see a full Vince McMahon match versus Pat McAfee, but we'll see what they do with this angle. And the rest was just an hour and a half of Vince doing his, as they claimed, first live interview in 15 years. So if you haven't seen it, check it out on the Pat McAfee Show. We can talk about that today and so much more. So stick around. Back in a moment, everybody. Observer Live. I'm going to get into the news here in a moment, but I have to do a quick PSA and Cameo plug. Somebody on YouTube said they hadn't got their Cameo yet, okay? I have one I haven't done. So if you happen to be that guy that I think it was sent in yesterday, if you're that guy, I'm going to get it done this afternoon. If you're not that guy, I've been told that for whatever reason, some people have requested a Cameo, and then Cameo never alerted them when it was done, but it's been done forever. So if you requested a Cameo and you haven't got it, go to Cameo because it may be up there. Apparently, some people, I don't know if it's a notification setting or whatever, but there's only one I haven't done yet. Hopefully by the time the show's over, there's multiple I haven't done yet, right? Only $35. I wish you happy birthday, bury your friends, give you a pep talk, talk to one bloke. Anyway.
Give me a pep talk.
Hey, $35, dude. That's all it takes. Those ones are hard, by the way. It's much easier when people want me to do a burial. I blast those things out.
I bet. What's the turnaround time on these supposed to be for you? From the time you get it to the time you get this thing out there?
I think the average, like they tell you it's supposed to be done in like 3 or 4 days, but I get most of them done like in a few hours, unless I'm away. Or the one I haven't done yet, this guy wants me to review some fight scene from some show, and there's like, I got to find this thing. That's part of the problem. Like, if your fight scene is not easily accessible or you know, something I can find on YouTube or long, I mean, bro, it's $35, so I may just say, brother, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this Cameo. So, like, I don't want you to make my life easy, but don't make my life hard for $35. Got it?
How many have you turned down so far?
I've turned down one.
Really?
Yeah, because somebody wanted me to bury a public figure, and it was designed clearly to just try and stir up trouble, and I was like, I ain't doing this. Sorry.
Nobody's offered you anything for.
But I did do a happy birthday for Bruce Pritchard.
Oh, Jesus.
I had fun with that one. I wished him a happy birthday. I hope he does have a happy birthday. I got nothing personal against the guy.
Something tells me if they read this on air, you'll be hearing back about
shows
it.
Shows are
surely
lame, but.
Oh.
And then I was watching the Vince interview yesterday, and Vince is, he's talking about how he says he doesn't listen to the positives or the negatives. He doesn't want to hear praise, and if he's not going to hear praise, he doesn't want to hear the negative either. So he just listens to the negative or the positive, he says. And he goes, I don't listen to anything these everyone on the internet, people hold grudges, and I don't listen to any of it. And listen, I'm not saying the guy's wrong, and I'm not saying he needs to listen to me, of course. But you know, I do not read my mentions on Twitter because those are like the bottom of the barrel. And I rarely go on the YouTube chat for this show because, but I do, like, the Twitch homies that they pay, you know, I forget what it is, $4.99 a month or whatever, or the people that pay $12.99 a month and post on our board. I do read that stuff. And, you know, some of it's positive and some of it is negative. And the one thing I have noted is, after you've done this for a while, you can really start to see the negative comments. You can really start to see the ones that are just like, this guy's an idiot and a troll. And you can also see the ones where it's negative, but the negative, it's like positive negative feedback, where you can listen to it and you go, you know what, this dude, you know, he doesn't like me, or he doesn't like this show, or he didn't like this segment, but you know what? He's right. So I'm not one of those people that says, you know, don't listen to anything. Don't listen to the positive or the negative. I think that, you know, if you've you know, been exposed to the positive and negative for a long time, you can start to weed out what's just some idiot troll and what's a person that, you know, they're a fan and they pay, and for the most part they like it, but there's something they don't like, and there's something you can learn from it. Which, speaking of, by the way, Vince goes, well, I've made a lot of mistakes that I've learned from. I was like, where am I for this interview? Because I'd like to say name one. I see a lot of mistakes that they just make over and over and over and over again. I could talk about this interview for an hour, but I don't want to waste everyone's time. But you know, we did talk about Saudi Arabia. You know what he said about Saudi Arabia?
What's that?
He goes, the Saudi people are just like any other people. And it's very interesting when he said that, because he also had another line where he goes, you know, my job was much harder before we went public. Because before we went public, you know, and I had to fire somebody, and then, you know, you realize that their mother has cancer, or, you know, you feel for these people in your heart. But then you go public and it's all business. And there's like a brief shot of Pat McAfee's face, and like, I think he was trying not to sell this comment, but there was just a brief shot, and I was like reading his mind. But I just thought, you know what? You're right. When you go public, you are beholden to your shareholders. But that certainly doesn't mean you can't have a heart. Like, you don't have to go public and then say that all these people you fired were dead weight. And I was thinking about the Saudi Arabia thing, and he's right. It's like, if you want to look at this Saudi Arabia thing, and you want to literally turn a blind eye to all of the humanitarian issues in Saudi Arabia and just think, you know what? These fans are just like any other fans anywhere around the world, and they deserve a live WWE show. I mean, you can do that, and that's clearly what this guy is doing. He has a way of, well, you know, we are doing business with a really scummy government. But you know what? Those fans deserve a show. That's the way he looks at it. These fans deserve a show. And he looks at, you know, all these, you know, all the dead weight he fired, and you know, Triple H, who's his son-in-law. But it's like, you got to look at family like it's, you know, like you're running a business. These family members are just like employees, which, you know, or independent contractors or whatever. So it's a very fascinating psychological look at Vince McMahon. I realize that I'm saying a lot of things here, and it sounds like he came off as like totally scummy, but he actually came off as like, I don't want to say like he came off as like a guy. He came off as a guy who runs a business, but he just happens to turn a blind eye to a lot of things, and, you know, anyway. Did you watch it?
I haven't yet. I've heard the Jericho Keith Lee one. I haven't heard McAfee and Vince yet, but nothing that's come out of this is any surprise whatsoever. Doesn't seem to be, at least. Seems like he's Vince McMahon. And do you blame him? I mean, it sounds like Vince is being Vince and telling the truth. Would you want him any other way? Would you want a promoter and a guy who certainly has done his, you know, level of things over the years, and, you know, his sliding scale of morals? I mean, he's telling the truth. He's telling the truth better than any other businessman here in America would be doing it. You're all just numbers. That's all you are. If you work for me, that's all you are. And yeah, maybe before it was a little bit more difficult because now you have that whole thing that everybody else hides behind. Everybody hides behind the shareholders. We're beholden to the shareholders. See, this is about their money, and we need their money to fund our money. That way we give you jobs, so sometimes we have to make these hard, callous decisions, and come on. I mean, there does not seem to be anything revelatory in this whatsoever, other than maybe people for the first time are hearing this stuff about Vince. I saw some reactions where it was like, Vince doesn't listen to anything online. Like, that's a surprise to anybody. His circle is closed. That's a surprise to anybody. That's the biggest sin in all of this, if you're a wrestling fan, is that he's done things the way he's done them for years and kept his circle tight, and it's been beneficial in a lot of ways. But you'll hear it with Keith Lee and Chris Jericho, and you've heard it many times. People are scared to death to even approach Vince now with anything because that's how fearful they are of their jobs. That's how tearing up scripts, things changing on the fly minutes before a show, things changing after the show goes on, all this stuff, and just the way that he is. I mean, again, no surprise for any of this, and I guess if it is new to you, then, well, welcome to the world of Vince McMahon.
Okay, do a break. Back with Dave. We'll talk about the new Observer newsletter up on the site right now. Back in a moment, Observer Live. TV, Dave Meltzer back here on the show.
Hey.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. New Observer is out right now. WrestlingObserver.com just went up this morning. Obviously, you can get a hard copy as well, but the easiest way, WrestlingObserver.com, you can sign up today, get the newsletter, as well as all of our podcasts. Every single podcast we do. 13,000 archive podcasts, 13,000. But anyway, Dave, the New Observer, top story, Ring of Honor, and AEW's Tony Khan's actually purchase of Ring of Honor. And do we know anything new about what the plans are?
No, I don't know anything new about Tony Khan's plans, but hopefully we'll hear about that in the next couple of days. But yeah, the story has a lot about a lot of history stuff as far as like similar purchases, similar deals when it comes to pro wrestling going back the last 40 plus years, UFC's purchases of different organizations and how it transpired, why, and the results. And also, about WWE's talks in the past of purchasing Ring of Honor, including being in negotiations right at the same time with AEW when Sinclair was looking to dump the thing. So, yeah, we got a lot of details on all that stuff.
Okay, so we have talked many times about the most famous, I think, being the WCW invasion after WWF bought WCW, and then it was like 9 months they tanked that thing into oblivion.
Yes.
What would you say would be the most successful purchase of another company and then integration into the existing company?
UFC and WEC.
That would be the most successful.
And I'll tell you why. Yeah, because they had several years before they integrated it. And the reason, and the other one that will end up being successful is Bushiroad purchasing Stardom. And the reason is because the second company was completely different from the first company. If you were both doing professional wrestling, the more popular company, it makes more sense to market the more popular company and not market the secondary company because you're just not wasting money, but you're not maximizing your revenue. But if you are doing two completely separate types of wrestling, like in the case of New Japan Stardom, one is doing men's wrestling, one is doing women's wrestling. It's not like Julia, biggest star of Stardom. It's not like she could go to New Japan and be more valuable in New Japan, so therefore, you're going to strip the smaller company to build the bigger company. With WEC, the key part of WEC, and this was Joe Silva's idea, was if we just do a league just like UFC, it's just going to be a secondary league, and it's not going to have any identity, and it won't succeed. So what we're going to do at the time, UFC did no fighters under 155. So Joe Silva decided to build it around Uriah Faber and actually Miguel Perez.
Torres.
Miguel Torres. I'm sorry. Yeah, my brain doesn't work sometimes. Miguel Torres. And later, Dominic Cruz became a big star. But the whole idea, and Aldo as well. But the idea is that we are going to present guys that are the best in the world, just not at something UFC is presenting. And it worked until it got so popular that it ended up being merged back into UFC anyway, and it just strengthened UFC itself, which by the time that merger came, that was the right thing to do, because at that point, those two weight classes could draw a lot more money with the UFC name than they could with the WEC name, and at that point, it's made all the sense in the world to put them in UFC. So that's the model. If you have a completely different product of people who the top stars in the smaller company could not go to the bigger company and make more money with the bigger company, then that situation works. But if they can, inherently, what's going to happen is that the top stars are going to be moved. The smaller company is going to be not draw, and eventually it'll go away.
While there's plenty of footage from Ring of Honor, both before and after HDNet, as well as, everything that AEW has put together so far, would it still behoove them to look around and try to pick up other properties? There's been rumors about other possible promotions that they could maybe accumulate the libraries of. Shimmer is the most glowing example of one that is untouched by really anybody right now. I know it's on High Spots, but there's no affiliation with anybody. It doesn't seem like that would prevent that. Is that something that they should look to do, or do you think Ring of Honor and AEW, just looking at that, may be enough for the time being, and just getting that straight where they want it to be, is that enough?
Nothing's ever enough and nothing's ever too little. It depends on when. But to me, the two libraries that they could get would be the most valuable. The one that would be the most value would be the ECW House Show Library, which is 404 house shows of ECW, which WWE doesn't own. It's basically every house show from 1994 until the company folded. So you're talking about 7+ years. It's basically 7 years of house shows with all kinds of big names. So I think that's a real valuable library, for both AEW or WWE, since they're both looking to, looking to get footage. But for AEW, I think that would be good. And Tony Khan's an a UFC, Ring of Honor fan, and also maybe the St. Louis library, but that's only a couple of years, and Anthem owns that right now. So, I think that's so far back, though. Now we're talking, over 40 years, and I don't know how much value that would have today, although there's lots of big names on it. But the ECW one, I think that there's absolutely value to, even though it's many, many years ago, but I think that one would be a valuable pickup for either WWE and especially for AEW.
You have a big story in the New Observer about the whole situation with Cain Velasquez, including a lot of comments from other fighters and wrestlers, not the least of which is Ronda Rousey writing, "I would have done the same thing if not worse." So what is the latest on Cain Velasquez and his charges, and have you heard anything from anybody that, lawyers, etc., that have speculated about what we're looking at here?
I've heard from lawyers, but nothing substantial or anything like that. As far as, if he goes to a jury trial, I think that there will be a lot of sympathy, and I cannot imagine him getting 20 years in prison, which is the minimum for a conviction for what he's being charged with. And that sounds unduly harsh. I don't know that he would get there's too many different things to really know, but it's a bad situation. But I think that he's being arraigned on Monday, and there'll be more, and hopefully he'll be let out on bail. There's a protection order, where he can't get anywhere near those, the Gilardi family. So, and he better not violate that. But I guess that's the latest.
Dana White to Barstool Sports said, "I obviously feel sorry for him and his family. It's a horrible thing. I don't know enough details to speak on it, but from what I've heard, we all say we do it if it ever happened to us, and Cain did it, which is in fact exactly. I mean, sometimes Dana's not exactly, but that is true. Everyone says they do it.
Everyone says it. That's true.
Yeah.
But there's a reason you don't do it.
Well, I mean, that's the point of the whole story, but yeah.
Look, if there was only one guy in the car, it'd be one thing, but there were three, and two of them were innocent, and I think that's the thing that I can't get around. I know some people can. I can't, and this is from someone who, likes the guy, talks to the guy and everything, but, there were innocent people in that car.
Got a lot of details on, you've just known him forever. I mean,
I don't know him well, but I mean, I know him. Yeah, if he's at a wrestling show, we'll talk. He always brings his family to to shows, and he's a super nice guy. Kind of not very outgoing or anything, but very
certainly
very
not
nice.
Outgoing. I think we can all agree on that.
No, that's why he didn't fit well with WWE, is because he's not really outgoing. He internalizes and everything, but he's a smart guy, and he's obviously a it's a shame about his fighting career, because if it was not for the injuries, he'd be probably the greatest heavyweight fighter of all time. But, the injuries happened.
We got about 30 seconds here, but when he did wrestling, when he went to Mexico, he wore a mask. And it was like, you got Cain Velasquez, what's this guy got a mask on for? But sometimes I think
he loves lucha libre.
Well, not only that, but I think like a guy with his personality, I think he might actually do way better with a mask on. Yeah. Because he can not be himself and just go out there and be bombastic. Whereas if he doesn't have the mask, maybe he would be self-conscious about everything. I don't know, but that's what I thought when he.
Well, I would say this, having seen all but one of his pro wrestling matches, he was much better with the mask than without it. But that was because when he was with the mask, he was out there doing lucha libre, and when he was out the mask, they wanted him to do whatever he did in Saudi Arabia, which was essentially nothing.
Yeah. Well, listen, the new Observer is available on the front page of WrestlingObserver.com. And in addition to that, I think we got over 1,000 Observers that we have in the archives. And why don't you throw out the address if people happen to want a paper copy?
Okay, if you want it, it's P.O. Box 1228, Campbell, California, 95009. But the best way to do it is just go to the Observer, the daily update in the Observer, and there's details exactly how to subscribe if you do want a paper copy.
That's right. And the online service, WrestlingObserver.com, you not only get the newsletters, but all of our podcasts. So if you love Wrestling Observer Radio, Wrestling Observer Live, Bryan and Vinny, all of them, all of the new shows, and 13,000 archives. So we're going to head to a break. Back in a moment with Monteasy, Wrestling Observer Live. And it's a miracle. We got Monteasy on the show here today. Hey, what's happening?
What is going on, everybody? I am glad to be here after our technical difficulty day. I am in the building. I am finally here, brother.
Yeah, I know that a lot of you have, you lived through a pandemic, and so you've been on Zoom for the past couple of years, and you probably hate Zoom for that reason. I just hate Zoom because I'm old. I don't know how to use this stupid thing. I'm using my wife's account. There's probably a picture of a whale that Monteasy is looking at right now. But you know what? We did it. We got him here.
So you're admitting it was your fault, boss man.
Of course it was my fault. It's always my fault.
Yeah, it is.
Monteasy, what's coming up tomorrow?
Oh, man, we have the showcase of showcases, man, for, wrestling music, man. We have the AEW first ever live show at the AEW music show at the venue at UCF Saturday, tomorrow, after Fan Fest. Make sure you guys get your tickets at AEWTix.com. I'm performing. Mikey Ruckus, the AEW producer extraordinaire, all the music you hear each and every week on Dynamite, AEW, things of that nature. He is performing, and Mr. Wrestle and Flow Josiah Williams is on the card performing too.
It's going to sound like the usual, paid by Tony Khan, but I like the AEW music. I back in the day in WWF, when it was Jim Johnson, so much great music, and every song was different, and every song, Ted DiBiase's music, Shawn Michaels' music. I mean, you could go on and on for forever about all these great themes. And no offense to whoever's doing it in the last few years. Maybe I do mean some offense here, but they all sound the same. I'm like, there's nothing special about them. When I was a kid, I always wanted to buy the albums to get the songs. Now it's like, who cares? But the way I like about the AEW music is all of the songs are different. And I think that they do They do a great job. So that'll be fun tomorrow. So what's going to be performed?
Oh man, so Josiah is going to be performing. I believe his Serena Deeb's theme he made, his song he made for Sean Spears, and I'll be performing a couple songs from my set, but I'll also be performing Sammy Guevara's theme, which I made. So make sure you guys come in and see that. Once again, AEWTix.com to get your tickets. And also, Mikey Ruckus will be performing Adam Cole, Thunder Rosa, all those themes, man, that you guys really love. So we're going to have a good time tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of hits performed tomorrow in the wrestling world. So.
Now, Mike's got a question, but I got to do a follow-up here. So
Yes.
whose music have you produced?
Wow.
Where to begin?
I'll make it quick. Big Swole before she left AEW. I've made Swerve's previous music that wasn't Shaka Khan's music, the opposite side of his music. I've made music for Shane Taylor. I just did Dragon Lee's out in Mexico. He's about to debut it. Just did Dragon Lee's, the one he's about to debut. You guys are about to hear. I did that. Man, I've done themes for so many guys, man, over the years. The most I've made for is ROH. ROH, that's my most of my resume is. But I've hit WWE. I've hit everywhere, man. Hit everywhere.
I'm so old. I never thought I'd have to ask this question, but I don't know how old you are. So it's like, are you somebody that loved hip hop and got involved in wrestling because of hip hop, or are you just like a music fan that loved wrestling that, I just wanted to put their musical skills to it? It's crazy how hip hop, the best themes for pro wrestling, a lot of them are hip hop themes and bass themes and that. How did you get to this point? How did you get into wrestling and meeting these people and creating their music for them?
Oh, well, I started in 2014. I made a random song for Roman Reigns, just a random hip hop song. It went viral before we knew what viral meant. And that shows how long I've been in the game. But, it has been, I've always been a hip hop fan. I was another fan that bought all the WWF CDs, Aggression, Forcible Entry, Volume 4 or 5. I was a regular fan. And then one day I just randomly wrote a song about a wrestler. And I just said, you know what? It'd be smart business for me to continue to do this. So I went all over the indies. I've met Bryan on several occasions at Defy shows. And, we just traveled the world. I traveled the world, made music for everybody and their mother if they wanted a theme. I just did it the hard-earned way. I just put
How about their grandmothers? Because I got one.
Oh, you got one? Yeah. If your grandmother wants one, holler at me, man.
Yeah, she's 92. I think we could do some good hip-hop for her.
That's right. Hit me up, Bryan. I got you.
Do you have bars that rhyme with Wendy's Frosty?
Oh, get out of here, Mike.
Well, it's true.
I did meet you at Defy, and Swerve was there before he'd gone to WWE. And we actually, in studio here, did a show.
Yep,
and then he goes to NXT. And they gave him, maybe I shouldn't call it a gimmick, but, he was a guy that did music. And, I watched it, and, the more they did, then there's a song, and I guess I really didn't know, because he's got an album coming out now.
Yes, we are working on, we're about to release our third album together.
So how far back does this go? I mean, has this been something that he's been doing forever, and I just never knew about it till he went to NXT? Or,
yes.
am
I that out to lunch here?
No, man. That's my best friend. So he picked up the talent from me. I'm his mentor, so he picked up the talent from me. We started doing music together. He learned like anybody else from me helping him do it to him doing it by himself. And we've been focused. We've been doing this for 3 years now. So we're on our third project together, and it's been amazing. It comes out on the 18th. It's called Tears. Make sure you guys go on all distributed platforms and get that album. We have some great music coming. So it's something he picked up, and I call him the most gifted dude I know because he picked it up very, very fast. I've never seen somebody pick up music that fast for never doing it. So. Very gifted dude.
Well,
I'm proud of him.
Was he a writer before this, or far as like was any freestyles, anything?
Nope,
or was
nothing,
this
Mike.
All,
See, I'm not out to lunch.
New.
Nope. This is all. Dude, how you think I feel sitting there watching this happen, seeing somebody who never rapped in their life, and then like two weeks later he just picks it up. I'm like, this is different. I've never been around anybody like this that's picked this up like this. This man.
Well, how did his NXT deal? Obviously, I don't know what a WWE 360 deal would look like, but I mean, how did you play a part in anything that they were doing there, or were you able to play a part in anything that they were doing there with WWE? How they do things?
As far as with the E, well,
yes.
There was different things that opportunities that I would get, I would be told to get my input on, or things that they would, run by me as far as the group, or, as far as Swerve himself. And I'd give my opinion. But a lot of that was them. They did all that themselves. Swerve would hit me up if there was any ideas he would want to ask me. But a lot of that was them, man. That was all Hit Row, man. And I just was like the goals. I was like the imaginary manager of the team. So, it's great. It's great to see that. But that's all them, man. All them four that's all their creative juices. I was just there if they needed me behind the scenes, man.
The last Defy show that I went to was January, and Swerve appeared. He made a surprise appearance at the end of the show, and I did not know that he was going to AEW at the time. But as soon as I saw this graphic for the first ever AEW Music live show, the venue at UFC or UCF, I knew immediately this guy was going to AEW. And next thing you know, he signed. So now, hey, maybe you don't have to be his invisible manager anymore.
I don't. It's different, man. I don't know. I'm not really the Paul Heyman type. But what I will say is that musically, and this will not be the last that you see of me or him musically. And now that we have creative freedom, now it's we're able to have fun with our music and be able to really promote it to all the platforms and be able to have fun with it, including our podcast as well. So I'm excited about that.
Obviously you got the show coming up tomorrow, but like looking into the future just a little bit, coming up WrestleMania weekend, while A-Mania's coming back, AJ Gray's got the For the Culture event coming back. Do you have any plans as it stands right now for things coming up on WrestleMania weekend?
Oh, yeah. If you just said what you just said and read between the lines, I think you just answered a lot of the same questions, brother. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff happening, man. WrestleMania weekend. I will be in the building. I will be around, and I look forward to that week. There's a lot of stuff happening. If you guys are there or around, you guys will see me, man. I'll be there, and there's a lot of festivities that me personally, I will be a part of. Definitely, I'm showing up.
Tell everybody about the podcast.
Yes, Swerve City Podcast. I can announce that our next guests. So we have different guests that we're bringing on, different people. We've brought in R&B superstars to, once again, wrestling legends to video gamers. Everything we've had on. We're back in action. We're shooting about 2 episodes a month right now. YouTube.com/Swerve City Podcast with me and my brother Swerve. We are all over the world, man. We have very special guests coming up, lined up, that we're going to surprise you guys with. And man, we've been at it 4 years. We started on the Beanbag on Instagram Live together, 2 beanbags, and now we got a studio. So we're just building this episode by episode, man. And we appreciate all the support. Trying to get these subscribers up. We're at 11,000. Let's make that 11 million, and we'll keep moving. So make sure you guys tune in to youtube.com/Swerve City Podcast once again, and subscribe to our channel.
I don't know how old you are, TZ, but we grew up doing the same things, buying those old, CDs with all that music. And did you ever want to be a wrestler? You ever do that backyard wrestling gimmick?
No, I never did, man. I knew my limitations, man. I'm 33, by the way. I know. I am too.
What a coincidence.
So, I actually, never did it. It never. I kind of knew my role, man. I'd watch it, and I played a little bit of football. So when I played running back and tight end, when I got hit, I didn't like the pain of getting hit, so I kind of stopped playing football.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't like the pain. So it was the same thing. I knew it was going to be painful, and I was like, my tolerance of pain for certain things is high, but wrestling, nah, that's not me, man. People have asked me though to try stuff. I was like, I'm good.
What's funny is, we're 2 peas in a pod here, Monteasy, because I've heard people say, "Oh, I love the pain, I love the contact," and I was always one of those guys. I don't want to feel pain. It hurts.
It hurts, man.
Who wants to feel pain? What's wrong with these people?
I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, I can tell. You're a fan of pain.
There was a natural thing that soreness, the good soreness you have after a game or a work, especially when you win. It only hurt when you lost.
I'm with you, Monteasy.
I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it, brother. I'm good, man. I try. I see my friends do it. A lot of my friends I've grown over these years to learn the professional wrestlers. A lot of my brothers and sisters, I give them the best of luck, man. I couldn't do it, man. Football was enough for me. I was tired.
Well, who do you like? Who do you like out there? But obviously, besides Swerve. But what, as a fan, what has always popped you and excites you seeing in the ring?
Man, I'm the biggest Darby Allin guy, man. I love him. I like the mysterious mystique type characters. I'm a big Darby Allin guy. I like who else am I a big fan of? I like Jungle Boy. I like Moxley. I'm a big fan of I actually a big fan of the Bucks. I like a lot of teams, man. I like a lot of wrestling now. As far as the E, Reigns is my guy. Obviously, that's who they got me in the game. So the NOI family I will always show love to them. So Roman, big fan of him. Big fan. I love the new Brock. The new Brock, I love it.
This guy is awesome. He's the greatest.
He's the greatest, man. He's the most entertaining thing. Him and Reigns are the two most entertaining things on that side of television to me right now. Is them two. I enjoy it. But
well, hey, stand by, hold that thought. We'll be back in just a moment, everybody. Wrestling Observer Live. Our new co-host Monteasy. Holy smokes. We could talk for years based on the last commercial break. But anyway, we got a lot of stuff coming up. So let's get some plugs in, and then we'll do another show at another time. But what's coming up tomorrow?
Tomorrow, man, the first ever AEW show, live show. It is going down at the UCF venue. We have Josiah Williams on the card. We have myself on the card. And we have Mikey Ruckus on the card performing the first AEW live show. There's going to be a lot of special guests. I can't even name. I'm bringing in a lot of special celebrities that I can't name, and they're not even wrestlers. I'm bringing in a whole slew of people. So you make sure you guys come to the show, AEWTix.com. Get your tickets. It's only $20. You spend $20 on
$20? That's less than one of my cameos.
I'm saying,
what are you all waiting for?
Come out, get the tickets. We're going to have a great show. Come say what's up to me, Josiah. We're all going to be together hanging out anyway. So come out, say what's up to us. There's going to be a great live show. And we're going to go put on a performance of a lifetime. I have a live DJ, so I got a live DJ with me. So it's going to be spinning and all that. We're going to have fun. Make sure you guys come out and tune in. And also, me and Swerve's new album, the 18th, is called Tears. It will be out this month. It will be out in actually 10 days, actually. No, 12 days. So make sure you guys come out and show love to us and everything that we have going on. It's a great album. It's a great project. Once again, it will be Spotify, iTunes, all digital platforms. We have a music video dropping that day as well. So, it's content for days. Make sure you follow the YouTube channel for the podcast, youtube.com/World City Podcast, music videos, my videos. And also, I am debuting a song Saturday, lastly, with the great R&B legend, platinum selling rapper and singer, Music Soul Child. The song's called Pressure. So I have a platinum selling artist on a wrestling record with me. So
Holy
that is
smokes.
other great news.
Well, listen, yeah, we are totally out of time. But hey, TZ Jones on Twitter at TZ Jones. I've also retweeted it at Bryan Alvarez, so check it out. We'll have Monteasy back again someday. Thanks so much for doing the show. We are out of time. We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.